We said that Nikizic was the first case which came out in Russia. What was actually the involvement of the situation? How was the situation going on? How did it actually everything started?
Well, it started by the phone call from our colleagues from Slovenia telling that there is a difficulty with one of the players, and what was very good that we reacted very quickly. He contacted the union, I think half an hour or 40 minutes after the attack that he had and the aggression that he was submitted to. So he was very grateful, and all the players are very grateful to him, because it's not the first case of aggression, of violence against players by the representatives of the clubs or the people that are linked to the club, but it's the first time that the player decided to talk and decided really to go forward and to attack them. We were, for 2 weeks, we were like one team, working very minute by minute, working together with the FIFPro, with the unions of other countries, because Nikizic was also a member of the union in Slovenia and in France. And, we went to Paris, we had a short meeting with Platini, we explained the whole story, and finally we found out the solution.
So there was also political involvement in this situation.
Well, the Russian Football Federation, they were afraid that the whole story has an international dimension, and we explained very clearly that he addressed his worries and his concern not even to the president of the Russian Federation, but mainly to Platini and Blatter. And we very quickly, the hearings of the ethics committee of the Russian Football Federation started. They wanted to investigate, to find the truth. They were pretty much convinced that Nikizic is really telling the truth, that all this has happened to him. And finally, they pronounced the sanctions against the club, the financial sanctions and disqualification regarding 2 people that were involved also in the story.
And what was the reaction of the Nikizic club?
The club first said he is a liar. They accused us of blackmailing them and so on. I mean, stupid reaction, and they did not realize how serious the whole situation is, and they were thinking that he would never be able to prove it. But we brought some very clear arguments, and we had some evidence that he really, signed the document under very strange, at least to say, under very strange circumstances.
Can you mention some similar cases?
Well, we knew, listen, unless we have agreement of the player, and as I said, very unfortunately, the players, before Nikizic, they were refusing to talk about it. It's the reason is very simple. They want to get rid of the player. They don't want to pay him salary anymore. He has another 1 year or 2 years contract, and then they say, listen, first train alone without team, and secondly, if they cannot break him, they start to threaten, and even in case of Nikizic, they were using the unknown armed people to force him to sign the resignation of the contract.
How long has all these things going on?
Listen, I think it has we have it for many years, and it has a different degrees. That's the point, probably. But generally, I think it's a long-standing story.
Have you ever asked yourself why in Russia?
It's not only in Russia, I tell you. It's in Eastern Europe. We heard about similar cases in other countries. And why? Because there is no civil society. Why? Because people think that police will not investigate. That the courts will be on the side of the people with the money and with the influence. And we are fighting also. It's part of the fight for the democracy.
And in your opinion, what is the solution to solve this kind of problem?
What you mean in European?
No, what is the solution to solve this kind of problem?
First solution is to admit that it happens, to be courageous, as Nikizic did, then to have solidarity support from other countries and other organizations, as we did, and then to assemble as many evidences as possible and to be part of the union.
Okay, maybe just to conclude, now we talked about fixing matches. Has anything shocked you?
No, unfortunately not. As you saw just now that, we were asking to raise hands the countries where there are fixed games, and almost all countries that are present here, representatives of all countries, confirm that there are fixed games in their countries. It's important, to have such meetings like today, because FIFPro is really doing a big job. It's probably one of the very few institutions in the world that is, openly talking about the problems that others are making, like these problems do not even exist, or they are minor. You just saw probably in our meeting room, that how bad the situation is, but we are also very determined not only to talk about it but to change it, and we will bring